Unit 4 of the first module introduces several key terminologies that explain the concept of disaster risk management versus disaster management. Let's look through each of these terms to understand what they mean. The term hazard is a process, phenomenon, or a human activity that may cause loss of life, injury, or other health impacts, property damage, social and economic disruption, or environmental degradation. Disaster risk is the potential loss of life, injury, or destroyed or damaged assets which could occur to a system, society, or a community in a specific period of time, determined probabilistically as a function of hazard, exposure, vulnerability, and capacity. It is important to consider the social and economic context in which disaster risks occur, and that people do not necessarily share the same perceptions of risk and their underlying risk factors. Vulnerability is used to define the conditions determined by physical, social, economic, and environmental factors or processes which increase the susceptibility of an individual, a community, assets, or systems to the impact of hazards. Therefore, disasters are serious disruptions of functioning of a community or a society at any scale due to hazardous events interacting with conditions of exposure, vulnerability, and capacity, leading to one or more of the following: human, material, economic, and environmental losses and impacts.
DRR refers to the concept and practice of reducing disaster risks through systematic efforts to analyze and manage the causal factors of disasters, including through reduced exposure to hazards, lessened vulnerability of people and property, wise management of land and the environment, and improved preparedness for adverse events. The term exposure is the situation of people, infrastructure, housing, production capacities, and other tangible human assets located in hazard-prone areas. Preparedness involves the knowledge and capacities developed by governments, response and recovery organizations, communities, and individuals to effectively anticipate, respond to, and recover from impacts of likely, imminent, or current disasters. Contingency planning is a management process that analyzes disaster risks and establishes arrangements in advance to enable timely, effective, and appropriate responses. An important part of overall preparedness, contingency plans need to be regularly updated and exercised. Contingency planning results in organized and coordinated courses of action with clearly identified institutional roles and resources, information processes, and operational arrangements for specific actors at times of need. Disaster response involves actions taken directly before, during, or immediately after a disaster in order to save lives, reduce health impacts, ensure public safety, and meet the basic subsistence needs of the people affected. The institutional elements of response often include provision of emergency services and public assistance by public and private sectors and community sectors, as well as community and volunteer participation. And the division between the response stage and the subsequent recovery stage is not clear-cut. Some response actions, such as the supply of temporary housing and water supplies, may extend well into the recovery stage. We hope you have gained some insight into the terminologies related to disaster management, and we hope to see you soon.